This is John from the University Skills Academy. In this session we're going to talk about how you can get rid of a bad habit and replace it with a good habit. In analysing a habit with respect to procrastination and work habits, it's helpful to know the components of a habit, and these are the cue, the routine, the reward, and the belief. Please note, it's perfectly normal to encounter negative feelings before you start work, even in an area of work that you like. The key is to know how to handle those feelings. One way is to say to yourself, stop wasting time, just make a start. Once you get going, you'll feel better. Coaches would call this self-talk. Please note, I call this positive self-talk. Now, some habits, by virtue of the fact that they are indeed a habit, can be very hard to change. Some studies suggest that it takes 11 repetitions to form a habit and 72 repetitions, therefore, to break that habit. Sound like a lot of hard work? I'd like to give you an easier way to break the habit. And the first part is the cue. Cues fall into 4 sections of their own: location, time, mood, as in how you're feeling at that very moment, and reactions, as in reactions to other people or something that's happened fairly recently. For example, looking something up on the web for legitimate research and then finding yourself surfing the web for something entirely unrelated to what you're meant to be doing. Perhaps, does a text message disturb you? Just that one line saying hello. Does it take you 5 or 15 minutes to get back to the task at hand? The issue of procrastination is that because it's an automatic habit, you don't even realize that you've started to procrastinate. So the way around this is for brief periods of time, as in the 20 or 40 minute learning sprint, as we've started to call them. Shut down the internet, turn the phone off, be unavailable to email. Shut the door so members of your family or work team can't come in. Whatever it is that is taking you away from the task at hand, eliminate it. This might mean doing something in a library and kick off that sprint. The next part is the routine. Say you avoid starting your studies to do something less painful or less stressful, like phone a friend, read a paper. This is the area that you have to exert your willpower. And this is the only area where you really have to exert your willpower and make that focused effort, and the rest will fall into place. The key to changing the habit is having a plan, developing a new ritual or a new routine. Some people leave their phone in their car when they head off to class or head off to the library, so that eliminates one of the major distractions. Sometimes a location, say a favorite chair or a library, with no access to the internet at the right time, can be the perfect stimuli to get a good start into that work process. Now, if the plan doesn't work perfectly the first time around, keep with it. Adjust it just a little bit so it meets your needs to make sure that it's effective, and then enjoy the win when the plan works. Perhaps don't change everything in the first go. Just make that single attempt. Get the egg timer out. Use that 20 to 40 minute learning sprint. And these little things can be the key to shifting that reaction on the cue. So rather than wandering down the alleyways of the internet, you can be powering the way through calculus or that foreign language. So after the change, what used to lead you to distraction will lead you to a focused work session. Notice I didn't say product. The reward is an equally important part of the habit. This may fall into one of the sharpening of the saw routines, but getting to this point may require some self-reflection and discovering why it was that you were distracted or procrastinating in the first place. Can the reward be the counterbalance to the distraction? Can the reward be the counterbalance to the procrastination? It may be as simple as savoring that sense of pride of having completed that 20 or 40 minute learning sprint. You might reward yourself with something as simple as a cup of tea or coffee, meeting with a friend at a particular place and time, reading a favorite newspaper. It may be a guilt-free downtime session as part of your sharpening the saw routine. Perhaps a bigger reward for a bigger achievement. For example, a night out at the movies for completing an assignment. Habits are powerful because they create neurological cravings. It helps to add a new reward if you want to overcome previous cravings. Once your brain starts to expect that reward, you'll be rewiring your neurological links that take place and establish that new habit. Many people find that setting a reward at a particular time, for example that lunch date, or a set time to down tools at 5 o'clock in the evening, gives that little bit of extra incentive with the artificial deadline to sprint to that deadline or push on a little bit harder, and then the reward is finishing at a set time or going to the lunch meeting. Occasionally, it might take a few attempts to get started in a new area of work. Keep with the routine of the 20 to 40 minute sprints. After a few of these and plugging away, you'll find that you'll start to enjoy the new area of work. You need to know a certain amount before you can do a certain amount. But once you get into that routine and are working away, you'll be surprised how focused you can be and how productive this process can be for you. And the enjoyment will start in a very short time. Remember, the better you become at something, the more enjoyable it is. The key to changing procrastination is the belief that you can actually do it. Part of the challenge early in the process is the neurological bond of that good feeling from the old habit. The belief that the new system and starting that process will achieve your goal is what will see you through. Part of what can underpin that belief is developing a new community, hanging out with friends from class in the same subject, virtually hanging out in the University Skills Academy. These people will have the same can-do belief that you share, and they will encourage and engender that belief. Like-minded friends can help you remember in moments of weakness what the end game is and why we're going through this process. This has been John Knight from the University Skills Academy. Thanks for your time, and you'll see me in the next session. Does a text message interfere with your concentration span and take you 10 to 15 minutes to get back to work? How are you going to deal with these things? Well, maybe the way around it is to get rid of your phone from your working and
Just get rid of it.
Bilbo, I've told you not to call me on Thursdays. You know I'm working. It's an emergency. It was an emergency last time when you said there was a dragon in the kitchen. This is a real emergency. Gandalf's given you a recipe for free beer. Free beer? What was I saying about distractions?